China versus Russia in accuracy. Final round is coming up, but we have more important things to do. Good afternoon and welcome to a new Coaches Corner actually that we haven't done yet so far. The air show is almost over. The planes are gone, so the noise is a little bit gone. How did you like the air show, Solly? Solly Williams, Gary Smith, by the way.
Good to be back here again. Yeah, fantastic. I didn't realize we were going to get the Air Force jets in as well, but obviously watching the Zoltan aerobatics is always fantastic. But the last show was brilliant, world class.
What have we not seen here in Dubai yet, Gary?
I think we've seen everything. From trucks to motorbikes to BMXs to water shows, unbelievable. No, it's been an amazing, phenomenal show from start to finish. And we still have the awards coming up tonight for some disciplines, and then of course the big closing ceremony tomorrow night.
How are you doing today, by the way, Gary?
Yeah, I'm feeling fantastic. Thank you, Kurt.
There were some rumors about some little beer sessions last night, but I guess we're going to touch another sensitive topic. That's our topic for today, actually. And there was an IPC meeting, as it usually is, at the end of the competition. And the topic was penalties. And there was one guy with a lot of courage. He stood up and brought up a subject that is sensitive to the competitors. And Solly, you had some ideas as of how to deal with infringements and penalty situation.
Well, it's not so much a proposal. I was just trying to get feedback from the current teams that are competing at the top level of the sport, if they felt that the 1-point penalty system was working. And the only reason why I'm a little bit curious is because I felt that Gary, myself, the old Magic team were quite strong proponents of how we ended up with a 1-point penalty. But we actually, I think it got a little bit misconstrued. I think what we really were trying to get changed back in 2003-04 was that when one breakdown in the skydive became a double infringement. In other words, then there used to be a 2-point penalty, and if you got a double infringement on the same mistake, it became a 4-point penalty. And there was always a little bit of ambiguity into that. So when everybody decided that we wanted a 1 penalty scenario, we got it. But it didn't really take away the fact that you can still get 2 penalties right next to each other from the same, like brain lock, or somebody misses a grip or something like that. So I don't think we can solve that. But I was just curious in whether if we had a bigger penalty system today, if it wouldn't do 2 things. 1, help with judging. 2, if it wouldn't make the risk factor become more of a consideration for teams, because I feel like the events have turned into a speed event right now, and we all love to go fast, we all love to turn as many points as possible. But that is the question that I proposed to the group, really. Did anybody feel like it is purely a speed fest, and with no consideration of if you had a glitch that you might have to rebuild, or etc., etc. So, like if I used the 8-way finish yesterday, it's round number 10. There's a 4-point advantage to the US. There was no atmosphere, right? Nobody expects anything to change. It's almost not even worth going to go do that jump. They could have just called the meet. But if there was a risk factor of if you had a little breakdown or a little brain lock and there was a bigger penalty, it might just add a little bit more fun to the equation. However, having said that, we didn't need any more of that inside the open 4-way category. There was enough atmosphere there already. So I'm not saying it's one for all kind of idea, but it was just really a question asked to teams. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to talk much about it at the meeting, though.
Let's see what Gary has to say. Gary, keyword is speed competition. Has 4-way competition turned into a speed competition, just completing as many points, disregarding infringements and moving on forward to get as many points as possible?
Yeah, well, from a coaching point of view, for sure. That's the way we coach right now. We coach to go for it, and we almost there's a flow in the jump, and you're going through it. We're not holding anything, because we know, especially at the top levels, you can't go conservatively. You're going to lose. You have to attack every jump, and that's where it's become. I still think, though, the top teams, you still coach. You work in technique. You're trying to make your blocks as good as possible and as fast as possible. but there's definitely way less emphasis on a penalty. We just fly through it. And if you lose one, so what? Hopefully you catch it at the end of the jump. Where if you're losing two, it might be a different ball game.
I guess the air show's not over.
They're still flying, but no, the microphone is going to hold it. So as a speed competition, we have to find a way to. There's a talk, and the meets have shown it. There's a lot of incorrectness as of incomplete formation and maneuvers that are not being detected, and some are detected and they may not be correct. They try to fix it, or we have been trying to fix it with slower speed, and it's working well. But it may not. But it may not, and it has not changed the approach by the teams who are going faster and faster and faster, and who are disregarding, actually, in fact, if you want to name it like this, they're disregarding violation of the rules. An infringement is a violation of the rules. So we are actually trained to ignore the violations. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess if you want to word it that way, it is. So it's, and whether Gary's coaching, he's been working with Hayabusa for a while now, and I'm sure their plan is they recognize that if they want to be top of the podium here, you have to have this particular built-in speed. And the risk of not being the fastest team out there outweighs the penalties today. France might have to go back to the drawing board and recognize that, who knows. I'm not saying they're the cleanest team out there, but they might recognize, well, we're not going fast enough, we just got to let it all hang out there. But I coach lower level teams this year, and it doesn't change for me as well. It's a mantra to move forward, never worry about it. If there's a breakdown, just keep going. Why? Because a 1-point penalty isn't big enough in the grand scheme of things to give it any consideration. The slow motion viewing, I'm glad Pierre brought those points up yesterday regarding the 70% and thinking that they would like it slower. Because having watched this meter and watching Hayabusa and SP in France, I don't know if I would want to judge regular speed myself. I think I would like to start off with, the question is, how can I get the score out accurately and as quickly as possible? I think give me a one viewing at 50%, and I think I'll have a better chance of getting the right score out every time. Does the sport necessarily want that? I don't know, but I'm just stating the obvious. So, I think watching them at full speed sometimes, it's just too quick. My eyes can't keep up with managing whether a grip is just sliding or whether it was static, etc., etc.
Yeah. Maybe it was too much I think it was in 2003 when the penalty was taken off and it became a 1-point deduction, or only the formation didn't count. And the slow motion was actually removed, because we used to have both. We used to have slow motion judging, which took forever, and we had the big penalties, and then both was just we got rid of that at the same time. Maybe that was too much.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to put our finger on it, what's gone, but for sure it has changed the sport. I don't necessarily think it's wrong. I just think that anything we can do to try and give the accurate score is going to be in the benefit of the competitors. I think if the penalties increase, we'll have to adjust our game. It happens in all sports. Football, they change their rules, So, if the changes come in, we'll, as we change our formations, we have to go back to the drawing board and work out what's the best plan to win. So, but I think the most important thing is we get the most accurate score out. I think that's, for me and for the competitor side of it, probably the most important.
The bringing in the penalties again is almost like forcing the teams to change their style a little bit. Would that be what will happen, Solly?
Well, I think if you try and compare to other sports, which we should a little bit, we should always look at other sports and try and compare and grow with what's happening in the world of technology. They're introducing some stuff into soccer now to maybe have cameras on the goalposts, etc. I think that we should maybe incorporate some of the stuff like they do in tennis, where you have challenges. I'm really just speaking transparently here, and with my sort of open discussion on if IPC Relative Subcommittee could maybe think about making some fun little things like that can come into it to generate a little bit more excitement. Like if you can have 3 challenges, perhaps the judges could view it as though Yeah, they're allowed to make judgment calls that are mistakes, but can be rectified if they use the video afterwards, etc. I'm just throwing some ideas out there because, you know, our sport needs to evolve. It needs to keep with the times. But with averages of 28 out there, to get a 1-point penalty, I mean, just think of a penalty in soccer. The average soccer score is 1-1 or 1-0 or something like that, and you can get a penalty in there, which is almost an automatic goal in there. The statistics don't really equate. It's not so much a penalty anymore, you know.
Right. In soccer, you have actually the offset where if a ball goes in the goal and it was offset, it doesn't count. That's what we have with our point deductions. But they also have the yellow card and the red card, and those are penalties, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it would be one of those that we just need to try and put it in line. Not necessarily with the other sports, but put our heads together and in the IPC committees and see. I don't know how much they can change, but maybe throw it more out to the competitors. I'm sure the French, all delegations, if they could submit something and put it all together instead of a small amount of people trying to make it. But I think if we get all the French involved and find out what they think, and I think that's where Solly was going with it. What is the general feeling? Because we know how we feel, but we don't know if that's what everybody wants. So if we can get more feedback from everybody, and that goes to Truder and her committees out there, then they know, and maybe there's some great, fantastic ideas out there that we don't know.
Well, great ideas have always come from South Africa in many ways, like the Mentis and other stuff. So the word is out now. We have thrown it out. Thanks for doing that, Solly. And I guess the discussion will continue from here on forward, and we'll see what's going to happen.
Yeah, let's try something new at the Shamrock.
Yeah. Right, Shamrock. Okay, we are on for the Shamrock. All right, guys. Shamrock Showdown. We'll test rules again. Thank you.